So today, we're going to talk about something that can quietly but completely change how you think, how you decide, and how you live. And look, we're not talking about cheesy motivational quotes or just feel-good advice. We're talking about the fundamental laws of how our minds actually work. These are rules that are running in the background whether you believe in them or not. If you can understand them, you suffer less, you overthink less, and you can move forward way, way faster.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Or what about this one? Have you ever had a problem that feels massive, just weighing on you, and then the moment you finally write it down on paper, it suddenly feels lighter, more manageable? What is going on there?
Well, these things aren't just random coincidences. They're actually the result of really predictable mental patterns. The thing is, most of us just never learn the hidden rules that are governing them. So let's dive in and uncover these rules, one by one.
Okay, our first law is one that I think we've all felt. And yeah, it can be a painful one. You know the feeling. You're absolutely terrified of spilling coffee on your brand new white shirt right before a huge interview. And then, almost like some cruel joke, your hand jitters and it happens.
So what is going on there? It's not magic. It's not the universe out to get you. The psychology behind it is actually pretty simple. What you repeatedly imagine, your nervous system starts to prepare for. Fear laser focuses your attention, but it often locks it onto the very thing you don't want. Your brain keeps scanning for that one danger, and you unconsciously start moving right toward it.
So here's the most crucial takeaway. Courage isn't about not being scared. It's about redirecting your attention. Your mind is like this powerful engine, right? And it's going to move toward whatever it's pointed at. So instead of constantly asking, what if it goes wrong, try asking yourself a much more powerful question. What if I handle it? That simple little shift can change everything.
All right, let's move on to our second law. This one is just a beautifully simple but incredibly powerful tool for getting out of your own head.
You know, most of our anxiety comes from problems that are just blurry and huge in our minds. Like that thought, my life is just messed up. It feels overwhelming, impossible to solve. But when you write it down, it shrinks. That vague sense of dread suddenly becomes a clear, manageable list of specific problems you can actually start to work on.
Now, what's funny is our brains often resist this. In a weird way, that vague anxiety feels easier than facing a concrete problem head-on. But the physical act of writing forces your mind to create structure where there was only chaos before. And that structure, that alone, gives you an immediate sense of control.
And this is why journaling is so much more than just an emotional outlet. It's a strategic act. You're not just venting, you're literally defining the battlefield. You got to remember, clarity is the very first step towards self-control and eventually finding the right solution.
Okay, our third law. This one hits hard for anyone who has ever felt stuck. You know, waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, or for a set of instructions that just never seems to arrive. And you know what? It's a really natural human tendency. We crave certainty. We look to our bosses, our parents, or society to give us a clear path, to give us a set of instructions on what to do next. The hard truth, though, is that real life, and especially your own personal growth, it doesn't come with a job description. Nobody is going to hand you a step-by-step guide on how to build your career or how to live a meaningful life.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? If you're sitting around waiting for permission, you're going to be waiting forever. Progress, leadership, real growth, it all belongs to the people who take initiative, who decide to act even when they're not 100% sure.
So the main takeaway here is pretty simple. Waiting is the enemy of momentum. And self-direction, it isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill. And you can learn it by taking small steps, making small decisions, and realizing that taking responsibility actually creates the confidence you were waiting for in the first place. And you know, this whole idea of taking initiative builds perfectly into our fourth law, which totally flips the script on how most of us think about our careers and about wealth. See, chasing money directly, that often leads to burnout and just bad decisions. This law shows you the real flow of value. You start by investing in yourself, in your skills, your knowledge, your intelligence. That investment then lets you create real value and solve really hard problems. And the money? That just becomes the natural side effect of the value you're providing. This is such a critical reframe. Shifting your focus from what you can get to what you can give is the most effective long-term strategy there is. The world pays for solved problems, not for your desire to get paid.
Think about it. A job or a business opportunity, that can disappear. But your skills, they're yours forever. You should think of learning as your long-term income insurance. And in the end,
A powerful sense of curiosity about how to solve interesting problems is always going to be more valuable and more sustainable than just raw ambition.
And finally, our fifth law. Now, this one can feel a little weird in a world that praises fast, decisive action, but honestly, it's one of the wisest.
This is such a profound psychological insight. That feeling of uncertainty, it's uncomfortable, right? We hate it. So we often rush to make a choice, any choice, not because it's the right one, but just to escape that feeling of not knowing. Our brain is looking for relief, not necessarily the best outcome.
This is where the whole concept of strategic silence comes into play. And this isn't procrastination, it's patience with a purpose. It's the conscious, intentional act of just waiting for more information to come in, for your emotions to settle down, for more clarity to show up. It's a strategy, not a weakness.
The thing is, not every problem needs an immediate answer. Sometimes the wisest choice you can make is to, well, not choose at all, at least not yet. Delaying a decision can be the single best way to prevent future regret, especially when your emotions are running high.
You know, as we start to wrap up, this quote perfectly sums up why these laws even matter. Life has this funny way of presenting us with the same lessons over and over and over again. The laws that you ignore today often become the painful patterns you're forced to deal with tomorrow.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Was it Murphy's Law of fear, Kidland's Law of clarity, Gilbert's Law of taking initiative, Walden's Law of value, or Falkland's Law of patience? Understanding which one of these really resonates with you, that's the first step to mastering your own mindset. Thanks for listening.